In this video, I'll be talking about Reise Reise in continuation of my series. I'm reviewing every Rammstein album. I'll give a little background on the album and I'll talk about the song's meanings. So Reise Reise, it's like a German military wake-up call. It means like, arise, arise. Fourth studio album by Rammstein, released on September 27, 2004. And later released, it was released in Germany first and then released in North America on November 16th, 2004. It was recorded in like a span of 2 years in Spain. The album was produced by the band themselves and the Swedish record producer Jacob Hellner, who they worked with him in the past as well. So this album is based on a Japan Airlines Flight 123.
Worst single aircraft disaster in aviation history. A Boeing crashes into a mountain northwest of Tokyo.
It was a plane crash. It happened on August 12th, 1985, and about like 12 minutes into its flight. So the airplane, they experienced like an explosion on the plane, and it was caused by like this faulty repair that was like from 7 years prior. Now the explosion rendered like the aircraft uncontrollable. The pilots tried to keep it in the air for about like 30 minutes or so, but they eventually kind of like became like trapped in these like mountain ranges around like Mount Fuji, and they crashed. 520 of the 524 passengers died, and including the crew, and it remains one of the deadliest aircraft disasters in history. So the album artwork actually kind of reminds me a little of that Diver Down from Van Halen artwork, but no, it's actually a voice recorder box I guess they call it the black box. And on the caption it says Flugrekorder nicht offen, which means flight recorder do not open. And on the CD version, the Digipack shows like the 6 members in suits with like suitcases and weapons. Similar to, if you remember Michael Douglas from Falling Down, like that type of style. First song, Reise Reise, or like I said, Rise Rise. This one has very nice like operatic and cinematic quality. It's a little slower. Lindemann sings in like this darker tone. Good opening track, has a nice balance of the heavy guitars and keyboard sounds. Mein Teil, My Part. This is one of the more controversial songs. So it's about this guy, his name is Armin Mewis or something like that. And he was popular because he actually looked for like this guy on the internet who he wanted to eat. And the guy he found was like a volunteer, and he found him online. And this guy, basically, they ate his severed penis, together. And then, the guy killed the other guy, and then he ate like most of his flesh. So it is a very like notorious type of song. They play the song live, and Till Lindemann, he's dressed in like this like butcher's apron. He's covered in blood. They bring out this like large cauldron, and Till Lindemann has a microphone with like a long knife at the end, and it's a very like graphic type of song when they play it live, but the one of those that the crowd loves. Next, Dalai Lama. So a modern version of a poem by a Goethe called Der Erlkönig, set in an airplane rather than a horse. The title is claimed to be like a reference of like the 14th Dalai Lama's fear of flying, and there is like a different interpretation of like serfdom in Tibet. So next is Kein Lust, or No Desire. Very heavy song, very like a heavy thrash metal guitar riff. Typical Rammstein song. And it has like heavy guitars and the atmospheric keyboard sections. Then track 5 is Los. And that means less, but Los is like a German suffix. It means like less as in like meaningless, or it can also be an adjective meaning like off or loose. And then it can be used as a command meaning go. So very different type of song because they play this opening riff on the acoustic guitar. So it kind of sounds like Rammstein Unplugged. The song has a very dark and eerie feel to it. They do kind of bring in like a little distortion like towards the end of the song, and they have some like harmonica samples, and it has a very like 80s like goth rock type of sound. Also sounds maybe like a little bit like early Ministry as well, but definitely an awesome song. Track 6 is America. This is, I guess, one of my favorite songs. Dealing with like the whole like Americanization, in the world. Now the song has like two verses in German and like the chorus is in English. She's like, "We're all living in America. America is wunderbar. We're all living in America. America, America." Then the band goes into like a commentary on like the whole Americanization, talking about Coca-Cola, Mickey Mouse, Santa Claus. The music video shows like these like Apollo era spacesuits and making fun of the whole idea of the U.S. faked the moon landing and just stereotypical Americans. They also have like other like kind of like satire, including a Muslim man worshiping like an oil refinery and removing his Nike sneakers and other things like that. So this is a really good song, and I really love the lyrics, and I just kind of like love the idea behind the song. Track number 7, Moscow, and that's about the city of Moscow in Russia, and it features Victoria First. She's a Russian singer. This is a very underrated song. It has both male and female vocals. Female vocals are in Russian, or I believe they are. At least the overall tone reminds me of that like 80s goth mixed with like 90s industrial, and songs have very like deep and heavy dark sounds, and it's a very unique song in the Rammstein catalog. Track 8, Morgenstern or Morning Star. Another song's a little different, kind of like a 2000s like new metal or rap metal feel, but then Till Lindemann starts singing in a more operatic style, and it does have some stop-start riffs. Next track, Stein Stein or Stone by Stone. This one has a nice mix of that heavy and slower atmospheric passages followed by like those like heavier sections. Lots of different styles mixed with the heavy industrial sound and the more like techno electronic sounds. And some heavy vocals as well as some softer melodic ones. Track 10, On Dik, Without You. This is one of their ballads. It's about mourning the loss of a loved person. It's a very one of more heartfelt, one of more even like romantic or like emotional types of ballads. And the idea behind the song is, without you, I cannot be. With you, I'm alone also. So, Rammstein doesn't really do these like serious, like emotional songs that much, but when they do, they are very good. The final song is called Amor or Love. Another slower one, but a little more of the atmospheric type of song. It's like a darker tone, has a nice bass line. It kind of drives the rhythm section. So as the song progresses, kind of gets a little more like symphonic. And there's a guitar solo with a modern rock feel. And that's something we don't really hear often with this band. So this is a pretty cool closing track. So in conclusion, this is definitely an underrated album. They get like a little more experimental in this. With the acoustic guitars, different song structures, different like that like goth rock and a little nu metal, and I think it's a strong album. I think like the first 4 albums are their best. I will be continuing the Rammstein reviews. The next album is Rosenrot, and that one, it is one of the weaker ones, but I'll give it another really good listen again, and I'll dive deep into the song so we can talk more about that album later. Let me know in the comments what you thought.